Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hola, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos otra vez a mi canal. I am going to be talking about my first and second pregnancy today. It's something that I have received a lot of requests about. If you don't follow me already, definitely check me out on Instagram. That is where I usually do my polls for YouTube. So I'm just gonna jump into it. I wanna start off by saying that honestly, pregnancy in itself is very different each time around. If you have any moms, friends, or you're a mom yourself, you can probably relate to this. If I wouldn't have done anything different, if they would have done, exactly the same, I would have still had completely different pregnancies. I feel like my pregnancies have been polar opposites, which is very funny because I'm actually having another boy. I remember reading all about like the old wives' tales and comparing, and I was like, oh my god, everything I'm checking off the list, it's a girl, but it was a boy. I am gonna highlight some main differences that I have noticed in my two pregnancies. First off is diet. I feel like with my first pregnancy, I was literally eating for two. I ate everything and anything that came my way. I would indulge in all my cravings. Not to say that you shouldn't, obviously, because it's pregnancy, and I think if there's any time in your lifetime to really indulge, it's during pregnancy because food just tastes better. You're going through so much, but I just wasn't as conscious as to like my weight gain. My body really didn't know what it was doing. I just felt like I would cure everything with eating. Opposed to my second pregnancy, I was a lot more nauseous this time. I definitely couldn't eat as much the first 4 months. I had a lot more food aversions. So that in itself influenced a lot. But now I feel like I am a little bit more conscious as to, okay, I'm not eating for two. Really, the baby is this small, like when you're in the first couple of months. So you really only have to add about 200, 300 calories to your diet overall. And of course, you add on more as the pregnancy goes. It's funny how my perspective shifted. I think it also has to do with the fact that, after having the baby, it took me so long to get back into shape and feel like myself again that I am definitely a lot more aware of it this time, which leads me into my next point is exercise. When I had Enzo, I was a lot younger. I really didn't exercise. I was more on the go. I didn't really have a routine. So it was a lot harder for me to have an exercise routine. Not saying that that's my excuse. I really didn't have an excuse, but I just felt like it wasn't really necessary. What I have heard is that if you have been working out before pregnancy and then continue to do so, then it's not as taxing on your body, rather than just like starting to work out when you're pregnant, because obviously your body's not gonna know what to do. I was working out 6 times a week prior to getting pregnant, and I continued to work out until I was 8 weeks. From 8 weeks to 14 weeks, I took a break. I was doing more of functional training, but I had taken it down on my cardio. I wasn't running anymore. I was just so nauseous after my exercise. It wasn't until 14 weeks that I started working out again, and I haven't stopped. I have a couple of weeks more to go. So definitely I am going to keep working out until I feel like I can. I definitely feel like I've moderated my workout, so I've done a lot more weights and functional training. I do the Sophia method, and then I also go to the gym with a personal trainer who helps me, modify, especially during pregnancy. So I highly recommend, even if you haven't worked out, consult with your doctor, see if you can slowly incorporate some movement, because it obviously also helps during labor. Self-care. I really want to talk about this because I feel like with my first pregnancy, I was so focused on the baby and taking my prenatals and not eating certain things. And, it was all about the baby, which is obviously super important, but I forgot to take care about myself. And I feel like that's something that us mamas, we really forget about. We have to kind of just be very aware of that our body is also going through so many changes. Give ourselves that time to rest. As for self-care, I definitely started out doing acupuncture. It was my first time doing acupuncture, but I've heard wonders for pregnancy, so I decided to give it a try. I've also done a lot more massages, prenatal massages, lymphatic massages, which help with removing the toxins, with cellulite, with removing like water retention, which just overall helps you feel so much better. I've also been much more aware of drinking a lot of water this time. You know, I wasn't as aware as how important it was last time, but you know, you have to definitely increase your water intake, especially now that you're pregnant. I think overall it's important to have happy thoughts, to do everything in your power to feel good, because if you feel good, your baby will feel good, and that's number one. Next up, travel. I'm consider this pregnancy more of like a pandemic pregnancy, because obviously I am not traveling as much as I used to with Enzo. You know, with Enzo, I was on the go. I was constantly in the air compared to now. As for weight gain, I definitely gained a lot more weight in my first pregnancy. Again, you know, my pregnancies were very different, so I was starving 24/7. Enzo was a 9.2 pound baby, so he was literally consuming everything that I would eat. Like, he would want more and more, and I just remember feeling so hungry. I definitely gained about 45 to 48 pounds. I don't remember exactly, but I do know that it was a lot. And it took me quite some time to actually get back to my pre-pregnancy body. With this pregnancy, I have gained about 22 pounds. I am right where I should be. Every pregnancy is different. I have been more conscious this time just because I also want, you know, what's healthiest for my baby and for myself. And I do know that by staying active and having, you know, not excess weight gain is also good for labor. I am gonna do a separate video on this, but I do wanna talk about like first mom problems. I remember being so out of the loop when I became a mom with Enzo. I didn't even know what to put on my baby registry. I remember reaching out to my cousin and my friends who were already moms and being like, okay, give me your list, give me your rundown, because I have no idea what I need. And because of that, I feel like I put way too many things on my baby registry. With the second pregnancy and the second baby comes a lot more knowledge. So you're a lot more aware of what you actually need. It's important not to buy a lot, especially at the beginning. I think you really just need like the absolutely necessary, because especially now with Amazon and so many things that with online shopping, you can just buy it as you go instead of just like spending all of this money and then later, once you have the baby, you're not gonna have time to be returning things. Don't go crazy with like the baby clothes. Don't go crazy with a lot of supplies that you might not need. I remember buying so much clothes for Enzo in the newborn size, and he was a 9.2 pound baby. So he was massive. I remember when they put him on me, I felt like he was like a sack of potatoes. Like, I literally like blew my air out of my chest. He didn't fit in any of his newborn clothes. So I have so much newborn clothes that hopefully this baby will fit into, and if not, then I'll end up donating after. The baby is so small, you're not gonna be putting like shoes on them. You're not gonna be putting certain things. They really are gonna be living in like PJs. More on that later. Stay tuned for that video. I promise to go into detail with that. Last but not least, healthcare. One of my main differences is that with Enzo, I was living in San Diego, so I had a OBGYN over there. And then with this baby, I recently moved to Florida, to Miami, and I'm gonna be having the baby here, so I had to find a new OBGYN. I will say that I didn't really love my OBGYN back in San Diego, so I wasn't really like missing her. She was like in a practice of 10 women, and then I ended up not getting her the day of my labor, which I know is obviously usually happens. But when I moved here, I looked into it and I ended up doing a private OBGYN. But the comparison has been like night and day. I have his phone number, I can call him, especially you guys know already I had some issues in my first trimester. If you missed that video, I will link it here so you guys can check it out. Just having his phone number, being able to call him, gave me some more reassurance. I get a lot more appointments with him, so I am so happy. He's obviously going to be the one delivering my baby. With this baby, I definitely wanted to feel comfortable with my doctor. If I can give anyone this advice, is if you don't feel comfortable with your doctor, just try to change. It doesn't matter if you're like halfway through your pregnancy. It doesn't matter if you're 8 months pregnant. You can still change your doctors. Sorry, my phone is like going crazy. Just know that like, don't feel like embarrassed or pressured to like keep that doctor. You can definitely change. It's very important, especially during pregnancy, that you feel comfortable with them. And that's it. So if you have any questions, definitely let me know. I will be answering in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.